Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this Friday, the day after the 49ers had their one OTAs practice open to the media. A little bit of news on Friday, and it's something that I've kind of foreshadowed. I didn't know exactly how it was going to take place. I didn't know the position, certainly did not know the player, but Adam Schefter reporting on Friday morning that the 49ers and the Eagles have basically worked out a deal in order for the 49ers to get Bryce Huff, a defensive end from the Philadelphia Eagles, and the 49ers will take on 7.95 million of his guaranteed $16.75 million contract, with the Eagles taking on the rest of that money. And so Bryce Huff is a player who spent just 1 year with the Eagles, but he parlayed a big season in 2023 when he had an NFL or his personal best, career best, 10 sacks for the Jets. Of course, we can connect the dots on this because we've seen it on special teams. Now, for the first time, we've seen it on defense where Robert Saleh comes over from the Jets. Bryce Huff had those 10 sacks with Robert Saleh in the Jets and in 2023. And so now a player who was there with Robert Saleh, a friendly face, a familiar face, brings him to the 49ers. And what I've talked about on special teams, we've seen it with the 49ers signing Thomas Morstead, the punter, replacing Mitch Wishnowsky, and also the Jets earlier this week signing Chaz Surratt, a linebacker, backup linebacker, and special teams player. So let's go a little bit more into the Bryce Huff decision to acquire him in a trade. And in talking to people with the 49ers, they're of the mindset that because free agency, there were so many losses in free agency, and the net losses far outnumbered the net gains. So the 49ers are in line to receive at least three compensatory picks, and those are projected by overthecap.com to be fourth round, and fifth round. So those draft picks the 49ers saw as draft capital that's just kind of sitting right there. And we're really kind of begging for the 49ers to do something with them, to be able to use their 11 draft picks this year on 11 rookies. Guys, eight, nine of those guys should make the 53-man roster, but to then use a 2026 draft pick on a veteran guy who theoretically should be able to just step in and make an impact, the 49ers found that to be a situation that was kind of fit in with how they wanted to build out this roster for the 2025 season. So, as I understood it from a while back, 49ers were very much in the market for making a trade after June 1. And so this trade will become official. I think it's either June 1 or some point shortly thereafter. But the other thing to keep in mind is that I still think the 49ers, and I know this is a long way down the road, but I think because of that draft capital, the 49ers are in play to be a team that could look to make a trade at the trading deadline. In the past, they have made some trades at that point. 2 years ago, it was Chase Young. Before that, it was Christian McCaffrey. Before that, it was Emmanuel Sanders. So, with that additional draft capital that they have based on the compensatory picks, 49ers will remain a team that will be looking to add a veteran player at a position of need if they deem that it would help them. And, I'm sure again, this is a long way off, but I can assure you that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch will talk about they don't want to strip away anything for the future or make a move that will hamstring them in the future for the short-term gratification. But if it fits in the total picture, then that's something they would do. The thing about making a move at the trade deadline, and it's usually to get a player on the final year of his contract, the exception being Christian McCaffrey, of course. But the thing is, when you make a trade at the trading deadline for a player like Chase Young, who you get for, it's basically a rental to get through the end of that season, if that player or when that player leaves as a free agent, you then have the capability to get a compensatory pick for that player, albeit it would be 2 years later. So Bryce Huff comes to the 49ers, adds as a edge rusher to what the 49ers already have. And what they have there with Nick Bosa, with Yetur Gross-Matos, with Michael Williams, Sam Okawanu is a player who could make an impact this season. Also, Robert Beal, it's time for him to show up. He'll be challenged for a roster spot. And now Bryce Huff comes in there. And so more depth. And I think when you looked at the 49ers defensive line and you look at all the players that they were lacking at the start of free agency with the decision to release Leonard Floyd, release Javon Hargrave, and Malik Collins. And the 49ers did not end last season with a whole lot of depth at that spot, and they lost depth early on in free agency. So with the draft selections of Michael Williams on the defensive end, with the additions of the defensive tackles, Alfred Collins and CJ West, and now Bryce Huff coming in, it's something that the 49ers felt like that was a very good move for them to get him at a price that is basically half of what the Eagles paid him last year. So that's the move the 49ers make, one that they've been kind of looking to make. They kind of had that in their back pocket as far as having the draft capital a year from now to be able to go out and get a veteran guy. So I think we'll see Bryce Huff very quickly at the 49ers offseason program. He'll certainly be there for the mandatory minicamp. One thing I just wanted to point out about what Kyle Shanahan said on Thursday when he talked to the media, and he talked about just kind of we talked a lot about the 2024 season and how things just went sideways basically from this point of the year on. And it started with kind of a lackluster offseason program, which became a lackluster training camp with the hold out, the hold in, all the weird stuff that happened. And, Kyle Shanahan talked about, I think, kind of sensing that that was the way the season was going. And it really all started with the Super Bowl loss. The season went on a month longer because of their run in the playoffs and to the Super Bowl, which meant a month less of an off season. And he said that, that there was that sense that when everybody reported back to the offseason program, they really weren't ready to report back to the offseason program. And what Kyle Shanahan did this year on their final team meeting is he addressed that, and he talked about the importance of coming back with the right mindset and being ready to go. And he said that after the season was over, that final meeting, he said he talked about the season before and how he felt that the team just wasn't ready to come back. And he said he understood that because of all the different things at play. But he also said that he really won't understand it this year, meaning no excuses. Having the season end at the end of the regular season, having basically a full month off than from what the team has been prepared to and used to, and then coming back. And so I would say if there's been one theme through the offseason program up to this point, which is 2 weeks of phase one, 3 weeks of phase two, and now 1 week of phase three. So doing the math, that's 6 weeks of the offseason program. Kind of the theme has been that everybody is rejuvenated, energized, and ready to go, ready to put their best foot forward. And certainly the long-term extension signings of Kittle, Purdy, and Warner add to that. You bring in 11 draft picks who are enthused to show the veteran guys what they're made of and how they can contribute. So many new faces on this team who are coming to the 49ers. They want to impress. And, basically nobody's guaranteed jobs. I shouldn't say nobody. Obviously, some guys are guaranteed jobs throughout the roster, but with all those new guys coming in, really nothing is handed to those guys. So that kind of amplifies the urgency level and ramps up the level of intensity and the working and everything else, the professionalism that comes along with it. So 49ers add a player on Friday, or at least all signs are pointing to them adding Bryce Huff at defensive end. He'll be joining the 49ers at really a position that needs help. And now they got a little bit more help from not the certainly from the veteran market, not the free agent market, but via a trade and as a direct result, really, of the 49ers having so many net losses as opposed to gains in free agency this year, they were able to use that to their advantage by getting a veteran player in a trade this year based on the compensatory picks that they're expected to receive next year. Got it? I hope so. Thanks for tuning in to this video. Please leave a comment, a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already. And that is it for now.